Greetings, good doctors, and everyone attending our MSH clinic. My name is Brent Anderson, and I've worked very closely with Jennifer Cox for many years to support the MSH clinicians. And I'd like to introduce you or reintroduce you to a really profound service that's available to you. It's called RNI, Reflection and Integration Process. Here's some background about this. We know that the premier occupational hazard for you all is compassion fatigue, and that about half of all physicians are clinically burnt out. The human toll that is borne by our community of doctors is really tragic. So, when patients share their lives with us and we're present to all of these difficult situations that can trigger our own fear and anger or sadness or regret that rises within us, how do we typically handle those things when they come up? Most of the time, we don't. We usually stuff our reactions and move on to the next patient. And that can be a reasonable way of dealing with it on a short term basis. But when we don't integrate both the inspirational parts and the difficult parts of your life, both at work and at home, that's a recipe for compassion fatigue. And when we're in that compassion fatigue mindset, things like meaning, inner peace, purpose, these things can seem like nothing but a dream. So let's consider some stories of clinicians who've been through the RNI process. Our first physician, we'll call him Jeremy. Jeremy senses something is just feeling a little off emotionally. He's just encountered uh, a series of traumatic patient stories, and he feels totally blank as he just stares at the EMR in front of him and describes feeling stuck, numb, sapped of most of my energy. He's been living this way for about a week and then finally calls the RNI facilitator. In just 60 minutes, he moves toward clarity about what's being triggered in him and encounters unhealed areas of his life he didn't even know he had. And then he starts to feel something shift. And after a short guided meditation, he feels this tremendous weight lifted. And when he goes back to work, the stuckness is gone, and he feels renewed vitality and resilience. And then we have Evelyn. Evelyn has a standing meeting once a month with the RNI facilitator, and he invited her to get in touch with a recent patient encounter that was meaningful for her. At first, she couldn't think of a thing, but then shared a story from the past week about a patient who was in the dying process. The family was singing songs around her. They were so grateful to Evelyn and the care team. They invited Evelyn into their inner circle, and she felt so privileged to see the completion of a life well lived, to hear the legacy of goodness and love that this patient was leaving. And Evelyn was with the family at the bedside when the patient took her final breath, and she was swept up in what she described as this incredibly sacred moment. This is a story that Evelyn would have totally forgotten about, but the RNI process helped her bring it to consciousness, and it's become a part of her core story of what it means to be a physician. So Jeremy and Evelyn know that a life of meaning, peace, and integration, it's priceless, but it's nothing you can buy. However, if you create just a little bit of room to engage this RNI process for 30 to 60 minutes every so often, it can make a profound difference. So I invite each of you to reach out and try this. I'll try to get back to you the same day or the very next day. You have nothing to lose, but perhaps something priceless to gain. So thank you for the profound service of healing that you're pouring into our people, and I hope to hear from you. Peace.